So you heard my views about poor little Tori Strafford in the monologue. She's gone, but what can we do now beyond the weeping and the praying and a bit of hypocrisy as well, frankly? Look, children are being sexualized. They are taught sexuality. They are made sexual far too early. It's downright evil. Judith Reisman is an academic and author who has written and lectured about this at length. She's superb on the subject, and she joins us by Skype from Virginia. Welcome to you.
Thanks, Michael. It's a whole new twist on things. Yeah.
Well, you mean Skype? You mean, or little Tori Strafford? Which?
No. This is so tragic. This child, and I am sure that most Canadians still remember. What was her name? French. The little girl that there were two Catholic girls also kidnapped by a male-female team. Remember that?
Well, that was Bernardo Homolka. That was infamous. But even since then, I mean, they were teenage girls. There were several. Since then, we've had other cases like this of little girls who are taken and murdered. But at the same time, the increased sexualization of children throughout Canadian media.
Oh, come on. This is the United States. This is worldwide. The worldwide sexualization of children. Our media really, I will be somewhat crisp and blunt, is basically controlled by pedophiles, in my view, and predators and pimps and a whole variety of unconscionable individuals, because even if they aren't the bad guys, Solzhenitsyn warned us about that back in '79. He said the world is being controlled by mass media. That's who's dictating the character of our nation, of each of our nations, and that is exactly correct. The mass media's got its ham fists in this totally. I didn't see anything about the pornography that was in the homes of these people. I can tell you right now it was there, and yet nobody's talking about that. And there, remember, I think I've mentioned, when I was the principal investigator for DOJ, Department of Justice, on images of children, crime, and violence, we identified back in 1954 Playboy initiating children as sexual targets, as sexual objects, that far back, and it has not stopped. It increased, it picked up, and it's time that people decided they were going to protect their children instead of protecting the profits of the mass media.
Now, at the beginning of what you just said, and I thought it was superb, but you said that mass media was controlled by pedophiles and perverts and pimps. You would stand by that?
Yeah, I would say that. And here, let me explain why I'm saying that. Because even if not everybody is, obviously, but even if you aren't part of that blanket group of people, you're part of the mass media. I have seen nothing come out of the media that blasts their own people for the kinds of manipulations that they've been engaged in. And they know what they're doing. This is marketing. They know that the marketers sit in that little room and decide, just like the Pinto, blow up of the Pinto, they decide whether they're willing to sexualize children to the extent that they do because of the backlash, or whether they want to stop because the profits won't be adequate enough. So until we have some real powerful people, leaders, credentialed people in the mass media speaking up themselves to demand that this be ended instantly or that action be taken, then I would have to put all of them in the same category. You support it. If you're implicit in it, then it's something that you're part of.
Well, Sonia, you mentioned Bernardo and Homolka. Now, that they were teenage girls, but without any doubt at all, a lot of the interest in that case was titillation and pornography, and there were people who claimed that they were disgusted by it, and they were lying because the woman involved was an ostensibly attractive woman, and there were young women who were being raped and murdered. Thousands of books sold because people wanted to get their kicks out of reading this crap.
Excuse me, it was on the cover of Playboy. We had a Catholic schoolgirl. As soon as the decision was made, Playboy put a Catholic schoolgirl and had the title "Stripping Next Girl," next door. That's their thing. If you think that was a coincidence, then I've got that bridge out there in New York to sell you.
All right. Now, when we talk about how children are being sexualized, this is not a left-right issue, because on the one hand, you have, I think, a certain decadence in society that says anything is acceptable. But on the other hand, the market, capitalism, if you like, says if we can make money out of it, we'll do it.
Greed, absolutely. Greed tops all. Yeah. combination of greed and deviance comes together. We're talking about massive sexual addictions. We all know that now. That's no secret. And yet, the sexualization of children is far and beyond anything that this nation or any civilized society should ever tolerate. We're showing these children dressed up like hookers. Give me, come on, you know. And who doesn't know what that means? And pretending that isn't triggering responses in all these people out there who are already problematic. No. And then the other piece that we've talked about last time when I was talking with you about the Philippines, we're talking about the sex education in the classrooms. But look, that sex education in the classrooms is often as graphic, if not more so in some ways, than some of the pornography that we're talking about that's all soft. So these children are being hit with it everywhere they turn. And then we blame the children for being sexualized? No. It is the greed of the adult society, and you're right. We're talking massive billions of dollars. Look, I just looked at the Hardy advertisement, which is aimed at young people, you know, as well as adults. When you sexualize everything from olives and foodstuffs and you dress up these children in costumes that prostitutes wouldn't wear 20 years ago, then you act surprised that children are being kidnapped, raped, murdered. And where is everybody is my question. Where's the mass media? Not to titillate, but to show their own responsibility. I want to know, why did they not report the pornography that had to be in the homes of these two guys, this girl and her honcho guy over there? Why not? Because I guarantee it was there.
I think it's likely. We'll certainly find out. I mean, just to end on this, in Ontario in Canada, and it's not just Ontario, it's been replicated elsewhere, this attempt to push through a radicalized sex education curriculum. There is no evidence at all it will protect children, but we know it will introduce children into a world, they still believe it in Santa, for goodness sake, into a world they cannot possibly comprehend, and it makes them easier prey for those people who are perverse and cruel in society, who otherwise might, even if they're perverse, but maybe not cruel, try to deal with their dysfunction. But this is almost enabling them.
Oh, it is, Michael. It is. And you are one of the few voices out there in the widestream mass media who's willing to address this honestly and in a straightforward manner to help your constituency, to help your viewers understand. Look, we have people suffering from sex addictions who in no way necessarily see themselves as sexually attracted to children. But when you put those children up in front of them, lipstick and made up and looking like they're ready to go with hotsy-totsy, yeah, then you're talking about recruiting the predator, recruiting the child, and allowing the entire society to begin. It's cannibalism of our own children, Michael. That's what we're at, and this is inexcusable in any society, much less what we call a civilized one.
All right. We will have you back on the show. We will not be silenced on this or any other issue. Thank you so very much indeed.
Thank you so much for giving us a voice.